Da, 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 da. Hey, welcome everybody to Astronomy Daily Live. Yes, it's great to be back. It's great to be back. It's always a little strange to have these breaks. They seem to last much longer than what they actually are. But and you know, the first one was sort of an unplanned one, and yesterday's was a planned one, and I'll sort of get into that. I'll give my little report about the musical gig that I was involved with yesterday. It was a little rough, but I'll get into that momentarily. Let me check the chat here. Hey there, Uncle Bill. Yes, it is. I definitely missed all of you as well. So yeah, you know, this is kind of a regular part of my life now. So when it isn't being done, I'm sort of like, you know, but not quite well. But well worth it for sure. So yeah, well, come on in, everybody. Come on in, everybody. Here we talk all things astronomy, space, science, nerdy things. I'm actually going to be today going off on a little tiny bit of a tangent, if given the chance here. I learned about this new thing today that I just sort of like to share with you all, and you know, just make you aware of it as well. Kind of interesting. So yeah, so this is just a casual, fun get together of friends each and every day. You can call it a virtual porch. You can call it a virtual campfire, right? And we're just coming together from all over the world, and you know, having a seat, taking it easy, grabbing our consumables of choice. I've got the HOH here, the hydrogen hydroxide, once again. Quite a few. It's pretty full tonight. So cheers to that. So yeah, I hope everybody's doing extremely well. Things are really good here. It's actually yesterday and today, once again, it's been cloudy. Actually got some rain as well, but it's been relatively warm. So that's okay. That's all right. I don't mind that one bit. And oh, you know, now that I'm asking Nightbot to show my local weather, I have to report that I have removed all of Nightbot's spam protection functionality. So last live stream, we had a newcomer come in who you know is sort of becoming a good friend, and she came in really nice, you know, popped some hearts up and all that kind of stuff, and Nightbot was like, bam, you know. And it's like, you know, that's extremely rude. That's extremely rude. So I've tried to you know, sort of tame Nightbot down, and that for me was sort of the last straw. So so like I said, Nightbot has been removed from its duties to control spam. this channel isn't big enough or busy enough really to need any kind of automatic things. I've got some great moderators here that I've hired who are volunteering their time, and they are all experts in the field of hammering. So I will count on them to take care of those kinds of things, and use, you know, their discretion and my extremely loose rules when it comes to behavior and all of that. So and speaking of which, on the panel once again is Bobby. Hey, what's going on?
Hey, what is up, everyone? Oh, I posted about a couple of links on the Discord in the ISS SSTV image.
I saw that. That's the cleanest image I think I've ever seen. And you got that one, right? That's yours?
Yeah.
That was a great signal. That must have been a really, really good pass. I mean, was it going like
It was like a
directly overhead?
71 degree,
Oh,
but
71.
I left it on because and unintended because I was going to church at that time, and it conflicted with my church time. But I managed to turn on the radio, put on the automatics, and just let it go and see what the results was.
Wow. So that was completely automatic. Wow.
Yeah.
Pretty good. That's yeah. Like I said, I mean, you know, I didn't look at it extremely carefully, but I didn't see any bad rows in there or anything. It looked like a nice clean signal. So
And
cool.
did you see about the article about what happened to those Marco sats?
I did. In fact, I think I thought that I posted something over on the Discord the other day about those two, and
Yeah.
so
Well, those wings were pulled during the shortwave radiogram show, which is like in that program they start with a voice introduction, and then they do like the digital text and images in they call FFSK 32 or 64 or something like that. Those are like the program or the producer uses those digital modes to transmit text, and they transmit some images, and they use that with analog, but they're working their way up with the DRM and stuff, the digital radio monodial.
cool, very, very cool. All right, well, cool. So yeah, you know, the Marco satellites were these two CubeSats that were sent along with the Mars InSight mission, and they were sort of an experiment to see if, you know, from Mars they could actually transmit live telemetry back to Earth, send it to the Deep Space Network, and those things worked really, really, really well, right? So these little tiny CubeSats, right, with these really extremely interesting radio dishes. I think they ran that in the X band, which I don't remember exactly what the frequency range there is, but they were able to get live telemetry back while InSight was landing, right? Now, if those wouldn't have worked, they would have had to wait, right, and just sort of, you know, bite their nails and wait for, you know, the signal to come back, because there weren't any orbiting spacecraft that were sort of, you know, they weren't going to be at the right place at the right time to provide that live feed. But the Marco satellites worked perfectly, right? Absolutely perfectly. And so yeah, that was a total success, right? Total success. And of course, the Marcos, they both, just flew right by Mars, right? Just zoom right by. And wow, I mean, they lost communication with those guys just maybe a week or so ago, maybe a couple of weeks. I'm not exactly sure. So they lasted. When did InSight land? Wow, it was.
Oh
It
my
was
gosh, I
last.
forgot. I forgot
Yeah,
too.
I think it was last fall. Like, I don't know, November, October, September. I forget. Um, but so
Watching Pa.
yeah. So so those guys lasted quite a while, right? And in fact, on this live stream, maybe it was a couple weeks ago, we went over to the JPL Horizons website and tried to get an ephemeris for them, to find their positions in the sky, and we weren't too successful with that, which sort of told me that, okay, well, maybe these things aren't running anymore, and yeah, that is indeed the case. I don't remember. I think they're solar powered, so and I think the article that I read about that said something about, I think the only reason why they lost communication was because they're so far away, right? So maybe as they come back around to the sun, uh, uh, they'll get close enough again to maybe reestablish contact. I don't remember seeing anything in the article about those kinds of attempts, but maybe somebody is thinking about this. And those antennas, I think, are really interesting, and they were extremely successful. That actually, that technology, I think, right, could be used as a means of communicating with a telescope on the moon, right? Which is actually one of my pet projects that I've sort of pulled up in the past couple of months or so. Anyway, so yeah, very cool, very cool. I'm gonna look at the chat one more time before I
Why
get
don't we
going.
let go of it ahead
Yeah.
before we continue? Let's look at that SSCB image.
Oh, sure. Let's do that. Let me get it over here on my Discord server. I also just got an announcement that check me out. The sound therapy lady is live on Twitch right now. So
that's Sex Meowth.
Check me out. I'll actually grab the link here and post it in the chat. That's probably where I'm going to go after this live stream. She's great. She's great. And I guess she's got some new instruments as well. Anyway, so there she is. Now I'm going to go over to my Discord and let's take a look at Bobby's image here. And maybe I'll pop it up here, and then maybe you can explain exactly what this is, because I am not going to do it justice. So I'm going to share my screen, And then I'll
You're
do
talking about like
that.
how I catched it and stuff, right?
Well, and what it is, obviously it's a picture, but it has some kind of significance, right? I mean, where it's coming from, and yeah, just how you captured it.
Okay. This photo, if you're so this photo that's being captured, I was checking my feed and stuff. Oh, in Cosmic, if you could click on you on the Hangouts app and maybe have it focus
Oh
on the
yeah,
screen,
yes,
okay,
yes,
that'll be
yes.
great.
Thank you for the reminder. Yep.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I think it'd be better.
There we go.
Okay, so this image that I captured was an unintended catch. When this 70-degree pass happened, um, it was during like my church's time. By the time I got back to church from church, I checked out the phone. I checked out what I captured, and when I was looking around, I found that man, that is got to be the cleanest capture that I ever got for sure. Because I saw some got partial, I saw some got some noise lines and like some defades and stuff. And so what is so but mine's got to be the cleanest for 70-degree pass opportunity and capturing only one image on this on the it's called an RTL SDR dongle with a telewhip antenna.
So
And
how so how is the I mean this is from this image is being I guess broadcast from the space station, right? The International Space Station as it's passing over your location, yeah?
um
Is
yeah,
that
yeah, that's now you were asking about how it happened. Okay,
yeah, yeah.
okay, so like what is the ISS has got to be like at your alleyway, at your location, and you got to use and then you got to cooperate with the radio satellites over in space. So so what it is when it approaches, you might be able to get something from that satellite. And as it's doing its pass, you get like more and more out of it. But once it like leaves your area, that's it. But there's a thing about catching radio satellites over in space. Because you're not dealing with something that's on the ground, there's a thing called Doppler shift. And in Doppler shift, you got to adjust your radio so you could get an easy capture. Because if you don't do that, you may not have an easy capture for sure.
Yeah, and that's because the space station and all satellites are moving relative to you. So
Yes.
yeah, so you have a Doppler shift, right? So as they're coming towards your location, all the frequencies are going to be shifted to the shorter end of the band, and as the satellites are moving away from you, they're going to be shifted to the longer thing. Now, what is that range? Is it like in the kilohertz range? Is that
It's
shift?
now traditionally it's supposed to be at 145.8 megahertz. And but remember the shift, you can be like so like in Doppler shift when it's just coming in, it might be at 145.803 megahertz.
Okay.
And as it leaves, it could be at 145.8 megahertz.
Interesting.
Now if you want to know what the demodulation that it uses, it's using some kind of called narrow band FM. There's two types of FM demodulation. There's like traditional broadcast wide band FM, and then hey, Drinklo, and then there's something called narrowband FM. You want to use the narrowband FM.
Sweet. And then you got a piece of software that actually decodes the signal.
Yes. For Windows, you get something called MMSSTB, and if you're on Linux, you get something called QSSTB. Or if you want to get MMSSTB working on Linux, you can get like a thing called Wine, and doing it that way, you'll be able to make it work on the spot.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, and looking at this just a little bit closer, there's just a few pixels here. Do you see that up here that are just a little, but I mean that is a nice clean image. Really, really nice. Really, really cool. So yeah, that's always really, really neat. And I mean at closest approach at what 71 degrees altitude. Oh, what the range of the space station.
That's like usually like the elevation, like how high it's going to go up.
Yeah. So the range of the ISS when it's at its highest, at that angle, it's probably something around maybe 440 kilometers or something like that. So I mean, it's really not all that far away, right? It's just way up. So cool. Very, very cool. Yeah, looks good. Looks really, really good.
And it doesn't matter what antenna you use. I use like a little teleweb antenna.
Wow.
And but like how Geos uses something called mobile vertical, you can use that as well.
Right. What power do they transmit? Do you have any idea? Is it a lot? Is it like 100?
That I probably may not have an answer on that, but I think they transmit good enough for like line of sight and stuff.
Yeah. I mean,
because it's kind of because like the Jules was talking about it during the his live show. It's got a directional antenna. And so your beam could be going like east, north, south, east, west, wherever it wants to go.
Right. Cool. Yeah, I wonder if it's like 100 watts or even that much. I mean, it probably doesn't even have to be that much, I don't think.
Not exactly.
Yeah. Cool. Well, very cool. Very, very cool. All right. Well, all right. I'm gonna check the chat here really quick because I'm seeing that Tom is in the chat. Twin Crow, hey there, Twin Crow. Nice to see you. And I promise that Nightbot is going to behave itself now. So yeah. All right, well, cool. Very, very glad to see you in the chat as well. So yeah, so 2 days ago, I canceled the live stream because I made sort of the realization that the problem that I've been having with my telescope system, which I'm going to start calling it the observatory, because that's exactly what it is. These observatories don't have to have a dome. They don't actually have to have a permanent spot. An observatory is a place where you observe the sky. So yeah, I think from now on, instead of calling it a telescope system, it is going to be the observatory. And I've actually named it Way Away, because where I am is way away from all lights and most life and everything else. So, but so what I realized after several weeks of you know, wringing of hands and nail biting and everything else is that how I was mounting my camera onto the telescope was actually the cause of all of this trouble. And you know, it's it it's those kinds of absolutely, I mean, really stupid mistakes that are you know, really annoying, right? Extremely annoying, because you know, I was to a point where I was like, well, you know, I'm going to have to shut all this down because you know, I can't do any kind of scientific research with excuse me, with that kind of data, right? Garbage in, garbage out, right? And you know, the data that I was getting was definitely just absolute garbage, right? And so the results are going to be absolutely junk as well. But I realized that I just wasn't paying close enough attention to how I was actually putting the camera onto the back of the telescope. Oftentimes I would have it such that it was just a little bit off, right? And you know, if things aren't exactly flush and exactly planar and all that, you're going to get all kinds of weird distortions and everything, right? So once I realized this, it's like, okay, I'm going to very carefully and deliberately put the camera onto the telescope and basically permanently mount it, right? Permanently have it on the scope, right? And so during the day, I very carefully, you know, with all the light I needed, you know, everything else, right? Put the camera right on the scope, and that night was actually 2 nights ago, right? And so it's like, well, you know, I don't know what exactly the results of this experiment is going to be. So I want to be able to maximize my amount of time messing with this thing, you know, because if I'm not able to get it, you know, the first try, I'm going to have to take the camera off. I'm going to have, you know, mess with it, all of that. So that's exactly what I did. You can actually see behind me here that I've got the camera now on the telescope pretty permanently, right? I mean, it's just there, right? What I had been doing, right, is taking it off right at the end of each session, and then, you know, at the beginning of the next one, put it back on. That was the cause of this trouble. So yeah, I very carefully put this on here, and as far as I'm concerned, this thing ain't gonna move, right? Not gonna move at all. And so what? 2 days ago, I took it out and pointed it up and grabbed a bunch of pictures, looked at the images, and lo and behold, I got nice round stars again. So that means that this camera is now properly aligned with this scope. And yes, Twin Crow, planets can definitely be seen with this scope. In fact, some of the work that I'm thinking about doing is actually measuring the brightnesses of planets and features on the planets, and also the moons of planets. And that can provide us lots of information about what's going on there, what kind of material is up there, all kinds of stuff. So yeah, no problem at all. So yeah, this camera is not going to come off of this scope for a very, very, very long time, very, very long time, because I've got it right where I want it, and I'm not going to change a thing. So what that means is that perhaps one of the uses for this other scope, which is a 5-inch telescope. This is a 5-inch. This is an 8-inch. Will be for the occasional live stream when I actually use this telescope to look at the moon, look at the planets, and all that. And during those live streams, you'll be able to see those too. Now there are a number of YouTube channels that are doing that already. So you know, that space is pretty filled, right? I'm not really going to add much to that. So I definitely encourage you to seek those out. P&K Science is one of them that looks at the moon a lot. Astronomy. What is? I think his name is Dave. Is it Astronomy Live? I think it's called Astronomy Live or Astronomy live stream. I forget exactly what it's called now.
If you have like no choice to change the name and the title, you were saying about calling it called the Daily Observer. Is it like something that you would do?
I say that all again, Bobby. I don't think I heard all of that.
Okay, if you had like no choice but to change the name from Astronomy Daily Live to something else, what would it be?
Oh, I'm not going to change mine. No. I don't have to do that at all. Yeah, no, that this live stream name, yeah, that's a perfect name because it perfectly describes exactly what this is. You know, we talk astronomy, we do it daily, and we are live. It is 2:33 UTC. So I think, you know, there's a little bit of a delay getting to you out there, but it's not very much. No. This is as live as we can get. Yeah, for sure. But no, I was just talking about the other live streams, you know, that show the moon and the planets and all of that. And so once in a while, I'll probably do it with this one. But I'm thinking that what I'm going to be doing with this telescope, at least one of the possibilities, is actually turning it into what's called a spectroscope. Yes, Astronomy Live channel. Yes, exactly, Uncle Bill. Yeah. So I mean, he's up in Colorado. He's just to the north of me, and he does great stuff. So shows all kinds of nice things, and you know, it's kind of neat with many of these live streams. You can make a request. It's like, you know, can we look at Mars or Saturn? And they'll go, sure. And off we go, right? So I'll do the same thing with this once in a while. I have a webcam that can actually go onto the bottom of this thing, and so we can take a look as well. But like I said, I'm thinking that what I'm going to try to do with this telescope is turn it into a spectroscope. So instead of looking at pictures of stars and galaxies and all that, I'll actually be looking at the spectra of them. So, and that again is a scientific goal, because once you get into spectroscopy, there are lots and lots and lots of things that can be done with that. When you have a spectrum of a star, say, right, you can determine what the star is made of, what the temperature is, and therefore you can make a guess as to its age, its size. You can even look for things like companion stars, right? And one of the interesting things that actually isn't done much is looking at the spectra of variable stars, right? So there's all kinds of variable stars, and a variable star is a star or a star system that varies in brightness over time, right? So, it'll get bright, it'll get dark, it'll get bright, and that can happen for lots and lots and lots of reasons. But one of the things that isn't done very much is actually looking at the spectra of these stars as they vary over time. And so, I'm really interested in seeing if the actual spectra change over time as well, and not just the brightness of these things, but what we can see in terms of different kinds of materials. See if things like the characteristics of the star actually change. Its size, its composition. I mean, who knows, right? So that's sort of what, at least one of the things that I'm thinking about in terms of using this scope for. The only limitation that I have with this scope is sort of weight, right? And size of the instrument itself, right? This is a very, very, very small area, right? I mean, it's not much bigger than my hand, right? So it's a very, very small area. So I would need some kind of spectroscope that is either going to sort of dangle off to one side here, or just be small enough, to be able to fit here without adding a lot of weight, right? Because these telescope mounts aren't really suited for a lot of weight. But I think there are spectrographs that can be gotten, or built, right? I mean, I think I could probably build one that would work really, really well. As you can see, with this camera, right, there's not enough room to actually point the scope straight up. This is about as steep an angle that it can get. Otherwise, the camera is going to run into the mount down here, right? And it's not going to be any good that way. Well,
Yeah,
I can sort of do.
The scope or the camera.
What's that?
You don't want to bust the scope or the camera.
No, heck no, heck no. And you can actually set limits on these mounts, so it won't move any higher than this, right? So That's kind of a nice thing. So, I mean, I could do exactly the same thing on that, right? I mean, if I have some kind of instrumentation that is longer than this, I would just, angle this out as well. But anyway, so that's a possibility. At least one of the thoughts.
It's already 2:41 UTC, and you never talked about your music gig.
I haven't talked about the music gig. I'm just avoiding that, aren't I?
And I think that's the last thing you gotta do before you say, let's get out of here.
Well, this actually won't take long. So yeah. With this a keyboard over here, I'm in a little band. The main guy, the group leader, he plays native flute, right? So I just sort of play some kind of a background to him. He's extremely good. My job is extremely easy. Well, a couple of months ago, we found a drummer, right? Who could pound on a djembe or some kind of large drum. And we noticed with him almost right away that he was having a little bit of a problem keeping the beat, right? So we definitely want to give people a chance, right? And try to get better, right? But usually to get better, you have to practice, right? You have to practice, and you have to show a little bit of improvement. So last night we played, and this drummer, it was an absolute disaster. It was probably, I gotta say, probably the worst performance I've ever done ever, right? Because he was completely off, just totally off. And one of our songs that we play is extremely rhythmic, right? And you have to stay on the beat, bum 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 bum. And he being the drummer, he is supposed to sort of set the rhythm, right? Well, he had no rhythm, absolutely none at all. So we were trying to follow him, and you just can't, right? And so yeah, that was a complete, absolute disaster. The interesting thing about musical performances, especially when you're playing songs that nobody knows, nobody who was listening knew how horrible it was, right? Everybody thought it was just absolutely awesome, right? Hey there, Ray. Nice to see you in the chat. Soggy Southern Illinois. All right.
Dang.
Yeah. It's been soggy here too, but it's supposed to clear up. In fact, just as an aside, I think it's supposed to be clear here tomorrow. So there's a possibility that I'm going to be live streaming outside with one of my obsessions. So I'll have to keep you informed on that. So long story short, our drummer is
I think Daddy Baby Horses just gave him the bam hammer.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. The band hammer. Yep. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. Well, you know,
Or like if you ever have water around Arizona, just throw 'em, just cut him and drop at the river.
yeah. No, you know, I mean, he's a good person, right? I mean, I have absolutely nothing against him at all. You know, he's a good person. Um, he, you know, he, you know, is not trying to be malicious or trying to mess us up or anything. It's just he's not trying, and you know, he's not improving. Um, and and uh, and you know, now me especially, right? I mean, I am not perfect in any way, right? I mess up all the time, right? But I and the band leader, the flute player, you know, we're at a relatively high musical level. You know, we both have a lot of experience
It's
with.
more like new age and stuff like that. Like
Yeah, yeah. No, 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 no. It's native flute. Native flute. If you've ever heard what's his name? Akai? Is it Akai? Uh, I don't remember. Anyway, if you do a search for Danny Many Horses, Danny Many Horses, you'll sort of see him. He's all over YouTube, and I don't know. I don't know if I've made any kind of appearances on any of the YouTube videos yet, but you know, that'll come with time.
yeah.
Um, so,
Yeah.
but
Have you do you like sometimes listen to India?
I have listened to her. Yeah, yeah. I'm.
I think the onlyest time a new age musician and a new age song would pretty much be as part of the top 40 would be India's only time.
I think so. Yeah. I mean, you know, I'm not. I don't really like her stuff all that much. It's a. I I don't know. It's a little. I guess a little too pop for me. So but anyway, that's how that went down yesterday. It was pretty much a um, um, total disaster. But you know, like I said, you know, the crowd absolutely loved it. They just absolutely loved it. Oh, there's a doggy alarm. Um, you know, because they didn't know any um, um, better, right? You know, they're listening to these songs for the first time, and so you know, as far as they were concerned, we were playing it perfectly, right? And that's exactly what they heard. Um, uh, but yeah, Ray, I played in a rock and roll cover band for at least a couple years or so, um, mostly cover band. We did maybe 5 or 6 like original songs, but mainly I'm covering. Actually, you know, and
And
it
did
wasn't
you
just.
thank Danny Baby Horses for that sampler?
Did I thank him for you?
Yeah.
I didn't. I forgot that I even sent that to you. Did you like that?
Yeah, I loved it. I like trying to
Yeah,
get the CD if I can, but
yeah.
first I need to get a CD player.
Oh well, yeah, yeah. I've got he's got sort of two main albums out. One is called Visions, and the other I think is just a self-titled one here too. So, but actually, we're going to be moving into a new musical realm. We actually found a I'm gonna focus. Come on, focus. Focus. Come on, you can do it. Let's see if it'll pop.
Damn it.
There it goes. Yay. So yeah. So Ray, yeah, I enjoy all kinds of music. I like classical. I like ragtime. I like jazz. I like blues. I like rock and roll. I like the ambient. I like the space music. Nope, there aren't any more CDs on the wall. That hasn't changed in literally years. I don't think I've bought a CD. Wow, it's been a long time since I bought a CD.
Yeah, and the reason why I got turned off when it comes to DVDs is I kept them, like, you get free movie rentals from the library, but every maybe 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 DVDs, you get one that's scratched and it's unplayable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, that's part of the risk of renting them, right? There's supposed to be, some kind of quality control there, but I guess that doesn't always happen. But yeah, the rock and roll band I was in, bands, we did mostly classic rock, so some Beatles, some Doors. We also did some jazz, right? I'm trying to remember. Did a little bit of jazz. Yeah, I mean, it was a mix, because each one of the band members sort of had their own really interesting set of songs that they wanted to do, and we tried almost everything, and yeah, I mean, I absolutely thoroughly enjoy listening to music, but I gotta say, right, that playing music is so much more satisfying and so much better, right? And
It's something like how him and Dad would say on Deal No Deal. It takes timing and it takes guts.
Yeah, well, I guess so. I mean, I'm just like this. I absolutely thoroughly enjoy sharing music, right? Right behind astronomy, for me, is music, and so I thoroughly enjoy sharing that, and playing it and listening to it and all that, and I always hope that I can be better, all the time, and but yeah, I mean, it's definitely a lot of fun to listen to and play. And speaking of space music, this week's Music from the Hearts of Space is a pretty good one. Pretty good. Definitely better than the average one. So definitely check that out. If you haven't, it's every Sunday you can go to the Music from the Hearts of Space website. It's HOS.com, and every Sunday, this week's show is free. right? So you can listen to it for free. What I do is I've got a computer that I set up, and I just record it, and then I can listen to it whenever I want, right?
And what's also good about me, I don't even have to record it. I'll just go ahead and just go in there and play it.
Absolutely, absolutely. You know, you can get a subscription, and I think there are, you know, 3 or 4 different levels of subscriptions.
They got like at least 3 for
Yeah.
sure.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I just got like the tier 1 and stuff, which is
Cool.
like $9 for 3 months. I'll take it.
That's nice. Yeah. Very, very nice. I'm way too much of a cheapskate, you know, so if I can get something for free, I'll do it. So, but yeah, this week's Hearts of Space is definitely a good one. And you have a few more hours, I think, today that it is free, because I think they're on Pacific time on the west coast of the United States. So that right now is what, 8 hours behind UTC. So what, it's 6:56 p.m.
Or yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right. I'm on Central.
Yeah. Yeah. So you have a few more hours to listen to it. And like I said, this week's one is pretty good. Put on some headphones, and or you know, if you got a really, really, really good stereo, right? I mean, you really, really need a good one in order to hear these sounds properly. You know, but get a nice set of headphones on, and sit back, and you know, it will take you away, right? And once in a while, that is really, really, really nice and fun, right? For sure. So cheers to space music. Yeah.
Now, out of my curiosity, before you ever heard of digital piracy and all that stuff, did you ever have to get like VHS tapes and cassette tapes on the streets?
On the streets, I don't know what you mean by that.
I'm talking about like doing some street marketing of like audio cassettes, VHS tapes, or like maybe tapes. I
Oh,
remember my aunt, my oldest aunt, or the aunt that I have now, the oldest one I have now. She used to do tapes and DVDs. Just
huh.
copy them from one VHS player to another.
And then she sell those on the street?
No, but she'll
Oh.
like retape them and give them to us.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. No, I never did that. I mean, when I was a kid, I had a tape recorder that had a microphone, right? And I would you know, press the record on the tape, and then I'd hold the microphone up to a speaker, and record songs that way. And that's not much different, than what I'm doing now, right?
And
Except
guilty alert, I did some bootlegging.
bootlegging. Yeah. 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 Cool. Cool. Yeah. Yeah. Tapes don't survive. In actuality, nothing is going to survive. Um, except, I heard, I don't remember what the company was called, but there's a company that had that. It was something that they put on a spacecraft or something, some kind of a digital format that is supposed to last for like billions of years. It's like, how do you prove that? I don't know exactly. All right, well, we're getting up close to the end of the hour, and I just, let's I'm going to tease you with this, and maybe next time I'm here back in the office, we can talk about it a little bit more. I watched the latest TMRO show today, and they talked to this lady about this new, I guess you call it a country that has been formed called Asgardia. Asgardia, and they're calling it the first space nation. If you go to asgardia.space, and I'll type that into the chat here, asgardia.space, they have, I mean, they are legit, right? They have a constitution. They have a leadership structure. They have an economy. They have all these plans, right? And they are trying to establish themselves as a recognized sovereign nation. And they have something like, and I'm not exactly sure what. When you go up onto the site, they have 3 different numbers. They have, and maybe I'll share my screen really quick, and we can just look at that, and then we can come back to this another time. So yeah, let me share my screen really quick, and I'll just tease you with this a little bit because I don't want to go too long over, but let's see. So this is asgardia.space, right? And they're calling themselves the Space Kingdom, right? And apparently they have 18,092 what they call residents. Hide that. Now, this is the number that I'm not quite sure about. I'm not quite sure what suspended means, but there are 273,704 of those, and they apparently have a population, whatever that means, of a little over 1 million, which is probably just however many people have sort of signed up. Now it looks like these are links. I wonder if we can. Okay, so this is just a link to like population numbers in various countries, which again, I haven't really. But anyway, how they've done this, right, is they've established a location in space. They have a CubeSat, which is called Asgardia 1, and it's actually got, a NORAD designation and all of that, right? It's a CubeSat. It's a 2U CubeSat. It's about the size of a loaf of bread. And this is the sovereign nation of Asgardia. And then here are the locations of all the residents of, or citizens of, or population of, I'm not exactly sure how to call it, of the people of this nation, right? And so I find this a little bit interesting. So yeah, let's look at this a little bit more in detail next time we're together. But it sort of spans the globe. I mean, there's a lot in, it looks like in Asia and the Middle East, Europe, a little bit over in North America. But actually, if you zoom in, which I'm going to do here, you can see that these dots actually change. Here, I'm just going to move over to the United States because that's That's where I am, at least. So, but as you zoom in, you sort of see that the number of dots actually change, and you get a few more. I think these pop up eventually here. I think it's being a little bit slow. Yeah. Okay. So there we go. At least in my neck of the woods, there's um, um, quite a few in the Phoenix area. There's some over in Tucson. So yeah, it's just kind of interesting. They want to establish the first space nation, and they've apparently done this, right? And but they're still sort of getting going, right? So they have an economy, and they have a budget, and they have a um, 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 like a head of state. Like I said, they have a constitution. I mean, it's all there, and they are trying, to set up, diplomatic relationships, with countries and all that. It's just kind of interesting. So anyway, we'll look at this a little bit more next time I am here in the office. So, and this actually shows the location of the satellite in real time. So here, I'll zoom out a little bit here. Let's see if I can. Come on, we got to zoom out. There you go. It's trying to fill in all the locations and stuff. But yeah. So this is like a real-time location of where Asgardia is physically located, right? And just like a lot of people who live on the Earth, they may not actually live, physically in their own country, and that is the case here, right? Nobody lives on or in this satellite. One, it's way too small. Two, it's in space. so there actually aren't any people there, but that is their I guess country of residence. So yeah, I just found it interesting. Definitely check out the interview. It seems legit, right? It's just it's just a new way of thinking, right? It's like
if I can find a way how I can get it, I think I might pay for it as well.
Yeah, I think to become a resident, I think you got to pay like 100 euros, and then you're in.
Holy moly, 100 euros! I don't think I can afford it. What about you?
Yeah, that's only, I think, like what, $80 or like 120 bucks. I forget exactly how the exchange rate goes. It's actually not very much, right?
Okay,
And
so I can find out for you right now. I can pretty much use another tab.
Cool. Anyway, and I mean, they're trying to establish an economy, so everything is digital, right? They actually have their own monetary system.
Okay, 100 euros to United States dollars. You'll be actually paying $113.23.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, they have to establish, they have to make themselves established, with some kind of economy too. So apparently that's how that's done. They're looking for investors, all of that.
Now,
But
is this is like a year-round thing, or do you have to pay $100 a month?
well, now look, you probably claim, to be a citizen of the United States, right? Are there any dues? No. So, it's exactly the same thing here, right? They're trying to establish a nation. So once you get in, you're in. That's it. It's a done deal. But yeah, they're extremely transparent. They have lots of documentation, lots of stuff to read on this site. Lots and lots and lots of stuff. They are trying, to be really, really transparent, right? Because they want this to work, and they are and want to be the first space nation, as they call themselves. So I just think it's kind of interesting, and in the spirit of um, um, keeping an open mind. I like to look into these kinds of things because I think they're interesting. So yeah, we can take a look at this in a little bit more detail next time. But as I said, I'm thinking that tomorrow, I think the forecast right now, and in fact, let me look and see here really quick. On my clear dark sky. Now I look at the astronomer's forecast. Cleardarksky.com. Yeah, so it's supposed to be clear here tomorrow night here. So there's a pretty good possibility that I'm going to be out doing an obsession. And I'll just go ahead and take you with me. I've got to take my calibration data right after sunset, which is around 6 p.m. local time here. And then I'll start the live stream at the usual time. And you can just follow along all the antics and all of that. I don't really have a plan at the moment, but I will. Probably going to either be looking at a variable star that is going to be going through some kind of an eclipse, or like an asteroid. We can look at an asteroid and watch an asteroid moving, which is kind of interesting. So yeah. All right, everybody. Well, I think I'm going to get out of here for now. So have a great evening, a great day wherever you are. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't yet. Hit the thumbs up if you like. Make some comments. I always like to see those. I always try to reply. I think I've been pretty consistently replying with something at least. Definitely try. And above everything else, spread the word about this live stream. My wish, my desire is to share this passion that I have for the science of astronomy and space and science in general. And so the more people that I can share that with, the happier I am, right? And the happier I am, the more I feel as though I'm actually in the groove, right? So that is the goal of this live stream, which I accomplished on the first day that I did it. So that goal has already been achieved, but I would definitely like even more. Now somebody has just woken up here, which probably means I need to get out of here. So All right. Yeah, she's
And I think Shet Realith is doing. I think she's pretty darn good.
yeah. I'm gonna go over there right now. So, all right, everybody, take care, and I will see you probably out doing an obsession tomorrow. So I'll see you in a little less than 23 hours. Take care. Cheers and peace, everybody. Bye.